They say marketing is the lifeblood of business growth, but a lot of business owners don't get their marketing right. Or even worse, they don't do marketing at all. Now, I know what you're thinking. Davie, you've been an accountant for over 17 years. What do you know about marketing? That's why I've brought in Can Huang from Social Wave, a marketing agency that specializes in helping service-based businesses grow. In fact, Social Wave has been doing my marketing for the last 6 years, and since then, I've been able to generate over 80 warm leads every month. I've won multiple accounting awards, gained massive PR exposure, and I was able to grow my business tenfold. In this deep dive, we go through exact marketing strategies we implemented and the lessons we've learned over the years. And while every business is different and these exact strategies might not be right for you, I hope this video can give you some insight on what's possible in the digital marketing space. Let's get into it. The way I do my marketing, it may not apply for everyone else. The way I've done it is because it fits my personality, it fits my business, my industry. It just fits the way I do things, the people I have, the resources as well. You can see that I'm quite big on YouTube, and all the other platforms I'm not as big and I'm not as focused on. But I'm not saying that other platforms don't work. So a lot of the other platforms I can see a lot of accountants and a lot of other businesses do really, really well with. Whereas me, I find that YouTube works really well for me. And it's just the choice and the timing as well. So just got lucky. Instead of like trying to, jazz you with all these like funky techniques with marketing and all that stuff like that, I just want to tell you guys a story of how I grew the business. And I think that's the easiest way for you to understand on how we went. So in 2016, I started the business. That's young Davie over there. I used to wear glasses until LASIK came. Now, I look like an old man. And it's probably because I've been running an accounting firm for the last 8 years. And, I've got like 30 plus employees that like drive me nuts sometimes. But that was me back in the day. And at that point of time, when I started my business in accounting, I actually really didn't enjoy accounting. I hated it because of the way things were done in accounting. And I wanted to do things differently. And when I started my business, I realized, wow, I could actually do everything differently in accounting. And the first thing I did in accounting was actually focus on marketing, because accountants were really bad in marketing. And that was one of the reasons why I started the accounting business in the first place. I was like sitting there for like a year, 6 months, trying to figure out what is my next step. What do I want to do? So at that point of time, I was working as a contractor accountant elsewhere. I was in commercial accounting. It was a project job. And I wasn't really satisfied with where I was. Like there was a permanent role for me. And the boss really did enjoy working with me. But at that point of time, I just felt like this isn't for me. And so I decided, you know what? I don't know what I want. Let's just start a business right now in accounting, because people are just asking me constantly every week about being their client and, starting an accounting business so that I can service them. So one of the first things I did when I started the accounting business was like build my website. So I just built it by myself. And the only reason why I did that is because I had time on my hands. I wanted to learn how search engine optimization worked. So, and if you guys don't know what search engine optimization is, which is SEO, it's basically when you build a website and try to get it to rank higher on Google or in any type of search engine. So my goal was to learn as much as I could and then palm it off and, get it replaced in a year or 2 years time. And the reason why I did that was because I knew that it was going to cost me like $3,000, $5,000, and I could just save the money doing it myself. So yeah, SEO was something I learned on my own, and I built the website on it. I don't have a picture of the website. We probably could figure it out, but yeah, it looks like a medical practice. I copied a medical practice, deleted all the photos, and put in all my information and all that stuff like that, and wrote my own content. So that was my first form of marketing. I also did some networking on the side as well. So I went out there meeting a lot of people, and I think that's a form of marketing as well. These were my goals, and it's still to this day, I still have these goals. So my first goal was to, and this is no particular order, the 5 pillars I wanted to have in my business was I wanted to get into $1 million in sales, in fees. I wanted 1 million, not because there was a particular number that made sense. It's just because people told me that if you're a partner in an accounting firm, you need to make $1 million for it to be profitable. Because if you're doing $500,000,
you will be doing the work, or you have to palm off the work to a manager. When you hire a manager, it'll cost you 150K. Then you got software, then you got employees, then you have to pay yourself. Once you pay yourself a wage of working, there's not really any profit left over for the business unless you make $1 million. Yeah, so that's what people kept telling me, my mentors, and I just went, you know what, I'll just aim for that. Second pillar, again, not in particular order, was I wanted to build a marketing machine. So a marketing machine that would bring me monthly leads ongoingly. So I didn't have to rely heavily on, networking and going out there trying to meet people and referrals. I wanted to see if I could build a business where it didn't rely heavily on my face. It obviously backfired because it still relies heavily on my face. But I wanted to build a marketing machine where just leads constantly came. And that's where search engine optimization, building a website, doing all those articles, ranking number one on particular keywords was like my main focus in the first couple of years. Number three, once I start building the business, once I get to $1 million in sales or fees and building a marketing machine, I knew I needed to manage the growth and scale. So that's where building a scalable business required you to focus on processes. So I focused very heavily on systems, processes, and hiring staff, for example, setting up new softwares, building process manuals. And it's funny because when the business grew so fast, like 6 months to a year, I had to review the processes and systems. Some softwares we put in place worked at that point of time, but doesn't work anymore. A clear example is like the phone system. The phone system didn't work. It worked at the start because one person would call me, a client would call me, and I would just pick up the phone and take it. And it would just redirect to my phone number. But over time, I had to redirect it to an office lady. But at that particular time, they're making phone calls to the ATO because we have a lot of services that we provide to our clients. And clients are trying to call as well. And it just doesn't work because the voicemail system doesn't work really well because it goes to my email and it didn't go to her. So I had to keep upgrading the processes and systems. And that's just one key example where, at the very start of your business, the system and process that you set up, it works, but 6 months to 12 months down the track, it doesn't work. So you got to be careful what processes you actually write, what manuals you actually focus on, because when you build those process manuals, you might be wasting so much time trying to do it, knowing that in 6 months, 12 months, it's going to change anyway. That was one of the things I realized when I started building these pillars. Pillar number 4 was become a key person of influence. Well, the way that came about was just me reading a book, and I just realized that if you want to be an expert, you need to write a book. And I don't even read books. I hate reading. I was at a expo a few days ago, and the guy's like, "Oh, I want to introduce you to this book." And I'm like, "Man, I haven't read a book since HSC." And the reason why I hate reading books was because I'm so scarred from studying so much. So I just consume my knowledge through videos and articles or a summary that I could just find online because I'm too lazy to sit down there and read a whole book. And my mind's always racing. And so I didn't want to write a book. I wanted to try to be an expert, maybe possibly online, doing videos instead, because that's how I consume my knowledge. So that's why I started trying to focus on doing social media, creating videos online, and then trying to speak in person, because I think my speaking and skills and communication skills is better than actually, me writing. Ken has seen my scripts that I've written, and they aren't very good.
They're pretty bad.
It takes me hours to write the book, write the articles as well. So I spent so long trying to write articles, and I realized that I can actually talk really well, but I can't actually put a pen on paper and actually write it. So therefore, I need to change the way of what a key person of influence is. Become an expert in the industry. If you do that, that means that your branding is better. Like your personal brand is good, your business brand is good, and people see you as the person to follow. And so having those 4 pillars, having money coming in, having a marketing machine, building processes, and constantly revising your processes, and then becoming an expert, I felt like if I have all those 4, this is going to be a successful business. Last one, but not the least, because I did this not at the end. I still do it ongoingly. As I mentioned before, these 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is not in a particular order. I started most of them at the same time. Rinse and repeat. So at first I thought rinse and repeat meant building a franchise business. So I wanted to franchise this business. I wanted to like get more accountants, teach more accountants, bring them into the business, start more multiple box advisory services because I saw H&R Block do it. I saw Anytime Fitness do it. All these different types of businesses that made money through franchising. So that was my initial thought. Over time, I realized that that's not what I want to do. So I changed the rinse and repeat. And now it's just, I want to teach the next generation and let them rise through the ranks and then let them become, the business owners of this business. Eventually, my team will be the ones that become the face. And I can go off building the business even more, focusing on managing the business, whereas my team can become the people that are bringing $1 million in sales. My team is the ones that do the marketing machine and they build scalable processes and systems. And one of them maybe will become the key person of influence as well. So that's my goal. So the reason why I'm explaining this to you is you need to understand the reason why I'm doing this and the end in mind. Because if you don't know what you're doing with marketing, at least you have a strategy of what you want to try to achieve. And that's why I told you guys about my goals. Before I go into more specifics of like the systems and processes, I just want to tell you guys my numbers because you guys can see the videos and the marketing online, but you don't actually know the numbers. And if you can see all the numbers in the back end, you can understand what we've created is powerful. So we get about 60 to 80 leads, monthly leads from our digital channels. I think digital and referrals, some referrals also come through these leads. And these monthly leads, how they counted is actual bookings. So if they book a free consultation with us, we count that as a lead. If they send us an email, ask us a few questions, we don't count that as a lead. The way we define a lead is someone that actually books in a meeting with us because that's when we know that it's quite sticky and they're warm leads. So we bring in about $100,000 in new client sales per month. And this is new client sales, not existing clients, but it's also annualized. So if I bring in a client, say today, I'll annualize their sales for the whole year for the next 365 days. And that's the amount of sales that we have. So it may seem like I'm like doing $1 million in sales a year. It's a bit less than that, but we do like, $500,000 to $800,000 in new sales a year for new clients. And it's quite good. We don't really need to acquire new businesses. We bring in $100,000 in annualized sales through the 60 to 80 monthly leads per month. If you want to know our conversion rate, it's actually about 52%. So the clients that come in and book in a meeting with us, they're so warm because of the marketing that we've done, the content we've created, that we actually convert 50%, over 50% of our clients. And I have to say, like when I first started, it was actually like about 60, 70% because I was doing it all on my own. Then I palmed it over to my team members and it dropped to maybe 30, 40%. And now it's climbing back up because of the experience, maybe the branding, and also teams getting better with, doing things better. Quickly, YouTube, 80 to 100,000 views per month, 6,000 hours. Is that a month? I don't know. Do you know, Ken?
That's probably the last 28 days. Yeah, so that's in a month. Yep.
People watching my videos, 6,000 hours a month, which is ridiculous. All right. The quick numbers, 13,000 website views, visitors, keywords that we rank on first page, 137. You guys can check out the rest. That's just the numbers. I'm not trying to boast here. The reason why I'm telling you guys this is because I want to tell you how powerful marketing is. And when you see the amount of money I spend on marketing, you'll be like, okay, kind of makes sense now. Okay, but this is the reason why my business has, grown successfully. So we've also won awards, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2020. And I took a step back in 2024. I didn't apply for any awards or anything like that. I got nominated, but I couldn't be bothered. So I didn't put in a submission. 2021, we won, all the way to 2023, we won a lot of awards. And these awards are not the small awards, or it's one of the recognized brands in the accounting world. It's pretty much, the biggest award that you could win in the Australian Accounting Awards. So we won the Boutique Firm of the Year, and we won Partner of the Year, which is the Accountant of the Year, basically, in 2023. We also got featured in PR, MYB, Accountants Daily, Advisor, Cancer, Prosper, Flying Solo. We're actually working with Xero right now as well. So a lot of things happening right now. And this is all from the power of marketing. We've got Can here. So I really wanted to put Can's face in here because in 2018 is when I started really focusing on marketing. And it's because I hired Can and Noel. I got them on $20 an hour, guys. So they were at, their career where they wanted to take a break. Can was going overseas for a whole year. And I asked him, hey, you're going overseas for a year. Why don't you just work remotely for me? I want you to, just focus on my marketing. I need more people helping me with marketing. And I managed to get him on $20 an hour. So that didn't last very long. It only lasted for a few months. And then obviously he came for a pay rise going, I'm actually getting you a lot of work. So we changed the fees after that, or the pay as well. And Noel was also on $20 an hour. He was doing my videography. So Cam was doing the strategy, implementations, and doing the research. And then Noel was doing the videos for me and editing it, video recording it, and then producing it. And we learned all this stuff from Gary Vee's deck. So how to make 64 pieces of content in a day. So Can actually sent this to me. I think within 3 or 4 days, we started producing the videos. And if you watch my first video, it is not good at all. It's so bad. And it was so bad that we had Noel tell me not to do it, like not to release the video, because I was stuttering. I didn't know what I was talking about at one point in time. It made me look stupid. And I just said, just release it. If I saw the video and I saw the bad comments or whatever it was, the bad feedback, then I would actually do my best to try to improve it. So obviously the ideas of starting the business and doing all these videos, it evolved over time. I took on an approach of trying to improve every 1%. So I worked on actually the way I speak. I worked on the way the video should be done, the topics, how do I engage people, how do I get people to continue to watch. And a lot of people were probably wondering, how much money did I start spending? I started with $12,000. That was how much I was going to spend for the 12 months. But by the end of the year, I spent way more than $12,000. I believe by the end of the year, I kept upping the budget because we started getting results. And the results didn't just come from, deals, sales. It came from just clients and leads saying, hey, I watched your video. Or even clients saying, hey, I watched your video. Here's a question for you. And it actually gave clients more information. So then they were more sticky as well. It created a lot of brand and reputation that people online were just talking about me. So I started getting people referring me deals, even though I've never met them before. So I didn't even need to go out there networking because some people just watch me online and then they have a conversation with their family, and one of the family members saying, oh, do you know a good accountant? And they say, I had never worked with Davie before, but I watch his videos online all the time. You should talk to him. That's the power of videos. And so I started releasing these videos. This was actually a not bad video. Like it got 8,000 views, but some of the videos were doing like 200 to 300 views, even to this day. I still feel like even the numbers were small, it was still really worth it to create these videos, because some of these videos are questions I answer every day, and it was a waste of time for me to actually answer them. I could just send a video to my team or my clients, or my business partners, so they can just refer them over to their clients. And it's crazy because I was actually one of the first accountants to release education videos consistently. So some people did it and they stopped, but I did it consistently all the way from 2019 all the way till now. And now there's a lot more people doing it, but our approach was, it doesn't matter, because if we start early, eventually this is where we're going to make most of our money. So we focused on our topics, on our videos. The main focus was education, motivational videos, and entertainment. Education because clients and leads also just wanted to know more about the topic that they want research on. Motivation because some business owners just needed some motivation to actually keep going forward. They wanted to be inspired. And then entertainment because some people just want to watch videos. They're on social media just to watch videos and just get entertained. So we also created entertainment videos as well. It's pretty stupid, but we created a toilet roll video once. You can find it on our YouTube channel. It's pretty lame. It was during COVID when people were running around trying to buy toilet paper because it ran out. Gary Vee's ideas completely changed. We started doing webinars online. COVID hit in 2020, and our videos started going viral because accountants at that point of time didn't do any videos. And so when JobKeeper happened and the lockdown happened, clients were calling their accountants and they couldn't get a hold of them. So they started looking online to find more information about JobKeeper, about grants, about what happens to your business. And when they do a search on like JobKeeper, I was the first one to rank, even above ATO. So that's how powerful like marketing is. And I think I was just there at the right time and I was prepared for it and I was ready to like put it in action. So me and Can had sleepless nights during COVID because one, it was like a gold mine. We were picking up like 120 leads per month or more. Some of them, like it was like around 150 leads per month. We had so many bookings for people that couldn't get a hold of their accountant and just needed someone to help them explaining things to them. And then eventually they became clients. We got very lucky, right place, right time, and well prepared due to our experience in doing videos and marketing. And we didn't just focus on one strategy. I just want you guys to be clear. It looks like I've just done YouTube. We combined so many different types of ideas. We created a funnel of different types of marketing that we did. And I just want to show you guys the marketing ideas that we had and we actually implemented. So this is what we did. We didn't do podcasts at that point in time, but we did SEO, search engine optimization, and it was all content. Like obviously in marketing, there are different types of ways to do marketing, right? You could do partnerships, you could do outreach, you can cold call, you can do emails, you can phone, you can do paid ads. But our focus was content marketing because we felt like that fit our model. You know, those 5 pillars that I mentioned at the very start? The content creation really ticked off a lot of those 5 pillars. It helped me with my processes. It helped me with creating a marketing machine. It helped me become a key person of influence and also helped me with $1 million in fees. So my focus was this. Whereas paid marketing kind of does that, not really. Once you turn it off, it's all gone. People don't remember you. Outreach kind of works, but didn't have the capacity to do it. Yeah, so we focused on content. And content meant emails. I guess you don't even have emails here, Can. Or you're collecting it.
Yeah, it's a bit further down where it says email flow. Yeah.
Yeah, so we focus on all these content at the very top part. And we actually we did SEO, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. We did all of them. We posted videos everywhere. And it's a numbers game. It's also you trying to figure out where your audience is sitting. We figured out that our audience was sitting in LinkedIn and YouTube. And we got lucky. We got very lucky at that point in time. The algorithm gods were helping us. And so therefore we focused more energy in LinkedIn and YouTube. If you jump into business now, it could be TikTok, depending on your industry. It could be Instagram that really blows you up. Or it could even be Facebook. Or it could be even a new different social media. So these are the platforms we used, and we put videos online, we did content, and from there we tried to collect the data. We tried to collect people's information. We tried to get their emails, we did surveys, we did like webinars, we did newsletters. That's where we were trying to collect all their data. Then from then onwards, we pushed them to our website and they booked in a meeting. That's how it worked. We didn't pay for any ads. We tried it. We did test it. Actually created a dinosaur ad that was like a dinosaur accountant. It's a bit stupid, but yeah, we did that. And we combined a whole bunch of techniques together. So we couldn't just have done YouTube without email marketing. We needed to collect their data and we need to send them emails constantly to remind them that Davie Max here. Because some clients and some leads love to watch your videos and consume it, but they don't need an accountant at that point in time. So you need to just collect their emails and constantly retarget them and remind them that Davie Max here. If you ever need me, give me a call. So that's how our marketing started, and that's what we were focusing on. Anything else, Ken, that you want to add in?
I think the other thing that's really important is it sounds like a lot, but actually we only did like one YouTube video every week. And we then ended up cutting and splicing and dicing all of that up across all of the social media channels. So it's not that you had to create content for each individual channel. It's like you had to create one long form, and that long form can then be cut up into like written content, into short form videos. You can use it for email marketing. You can use it for you can turn it into audio if you wanted to do a podcast version of it. So the use case of one, and that's that Gary Vee deck that Davie showed you at the start. It was like the realization for us is we didn't have to do everything. We had to just do one thing right, which was YouTube, and then everything else would just go downstream from there.
Yeah, and there were particular times where you would focus on it. So for example, we also focused on media at one point in time. So we knew that during April, May and June, this is end of financial year. It's a good time to start trying to win awards or just trying to get on articles. We got featured on articles on the news, and we tried to promote that. We didn't pay our way through it, but we just tried to put our name out there with the media companies because we knew that during that time, there's a lot of end of financial year tax topics that come out. We combined that with also YouTube, and I realized that when a lead comes to buy from you, they need to be your friend. They need to trust you, especially when you're an accountant. And you can actually not really artificially, but you can force that trust, not from just a phone call or not from actually meeting them up for coffee or not getting referrals, but you can force that trust by getting them to watch you and consume your knowledge for 10 hours. And you realize that a lot of the leads that come on and sign up with us, they've been watching my videos for 6 months. And probably some of you have been watching our videos for 6 months, and they built a relationship with me. They know everything about me. They know I have a wife. They know I lived in Bankstown back in the day. Yeah, so there's a lot of things that you know about me. You then generally start building that trust, and you already know how much our price is because you've been on our website. And so therefore, when you book that meeting, that final meeting, and you have that sales call, you feel like, the time's right because you know that this person is actually going to look after you. And that's our goal. We actually do have a great service and product. I truly believe that. Our team is actually good at what they do. We actually do the job properly. And we've got years of experience on being an accountant. So creating all this content and then redirecting everything over to them signing up. By that time they reach here, they already trust you. Yeah, that's the whole point of the content creation. It's not just for marketing, but also just building that trust and reputation and branding. So eventually they sign up with you. And what I realized about marketing is and building all this content is that it's also just staying front of mind with these leads. They see me every week. I remember people used to say to me, Davie, man, I feel like I already, you're my mate because I see you more than I see my mom. And then in 2021, we, like I said, we hit the jackpot in 2020 and we started winning. We made so many mistakes from 2019 all the way till now. We spent money on marketing. We spent money on ads. We got people to do email marketing. That didn't work. Clients actually weren't happy. Or leads weren't happy about that. Or cold emailing. We did that for a little while too, yeah, Ken?
Yep, we tried everything. Yep.
We tried literally everything. And then we realized that some things work, some things don't. But in 2021, we started winning. We started winning awards. We even were able to expand. So this is me and Can in, I can't remember what it was, 2022. We finally moved out of our dungeon office, which was shared by 5 different businesses, and there was tradies walking around everywhere, and it was just a mess of an office. And we finally bought our own office and renovated it and built our office now in Parramatta. Yeah, and it was just an amazing win that we were able to do all this stuff. Look, I share this to you guys because I just want to show you guys what you can actually do with auto marketing. And I want to show you guys the processes as well that we have with marketing. So our processes now, compared to back then, is so much more refined and so much more easier. Yes, you start off with spending a lot of hours, but now I spend up to about 4 hours, I would say a fortnight, on our marketing. So I would consume, apart from consuming content. So I still consume content when I'm driving to work or when I'm bored in my bed watching videos because I just love watching videos. And I still do that 1 to 3 hours per week. So that's listening to podcasts, watching YouTube. And then we also what podcasts and YouTubes do we watch? My First Million.
Yeah.
Good content.
A lot of Alex Hormozy.
Alex Hormozy. Yeah. And then there used to be a girl that was really good on social media. Her name was, what was her name again? I can't remember.
It's Vanessa.
I can't remember. Vanessa. Yeah. Vanessa Lau online. And I would just consume the knowledge and then just apply it straight away. So then we would have a meeting. We have fortnightly meetings. Sometimes it was monthly, and we'd trade notes, and me, Ken, and his team would just discuss topics, strategies, ideas, numbers. We'll go back to our existing numbers and just talk about what can work and what doesn't work. Then we'll prepare the scripts. So that's Can's team. I actually don't do the script writing. I sometimes have the topics, and the topics are actually done during the monthly or fortnightly meetings. And then the team actually scripts it. They write the articles, they script it, they work on the specific projects that we have, which is sometimes building the website or the landing pages. And I just review it. And that reviewing takes like 1 hour per fortnight. And then we batch film. I realized that over time, that I only can really film 3 to 4 videos in one day. Because after the 4th video, you can see that my technique of talking, I start mumbling. I can't really speak anymore, and I'm just so tired that I get cranky, and you can actually see it in the videos. So I decided, you know what, moving forward, let's just only film at maximum 3 or 4. I will never go over past that. So yeah, once a month we film 3 to 4 videos, and the team gets those videos, cuts them up, edits them, produces them, and then they create like 4 to 5 videos out of them per video that we film, per topic. And then that gets released over the next 2 months, 3 months. So we don't really need to film that much. And this whole process, my time, it takes about 4 hours per fortnight. Obviously, I've got a good team. And obviously, we spend quite a fair bit of money and pay for that. But what we also do on a regular basis is I still network. I still go out there, go to events. I still meet like new industry leaders. I still work with these companies that like, Xero. I have an actual sales team that manages the sales. And I'll also have an onboarding team that onboards the new clients. So sales team meets the new leads and then sells to them and brings in the clients. And then the onboarding team, which could be part of the sales team, takes care of the new clients and gives them the love. I'm still around. I still do all the marketing. I still talk to clients, but most of the work gets done by the sales and onboarding team. It actually can be put into a process in the system, and you actually can do that. And yeah, we manage the budget for marketing and then increase it regularly. It went from $12,000 per year, and now I actually pay $150,000 a year in marketing. So it sounds like a lot of money, but I think personally it's all worth it. Does anyone have any questions?
At the high level, what's the distribution of that cost among the different channels?
Different channels? Oh, that'll be a good answer for you, Ken.
Do you mean as in out of that 150, how much is dedicated to different parts of the marketing strategy?
Correct.
Yeah, gotcha. I would say 70-80% of it goes towards video and socials, so video content. About 20% goes towards SEO, some more like sort of like rudimentary marketing stuff, like for example, email marketing, general admin, distribution, like social media management and things like that. But the heavy lifting happens in, the production of the video, the pre-production, meaning the scripting, the topic, the strategy, and then the actual shooting, and then followed by the editing. Editing is a big cost component of this. And then followed by, doing the thumbnails, the graphic design, getting it all uploaded and then optimized and writing the copy for it as well.
Yep. Thanks.
And it changes over time as well. At the start, we probably spent more money on SEO. It's funny because back then, when we were looking at the stats, we recorded the stats. Google was our highest lead generator. It generated most of the leads. And then over time, when we started like doing as much marketing as we could, we realized that our website traffic just wouldn't increase anymore. It just stayed the same. It actually went backwards. So COVID pushed it up. We were getting like 15,000 views per month. And then it went back down to like 12,000, 10,000 views a month, visitors. And we couldn't get it back up anymore. And over time, after a year, me and Can decided, maybe that's the limit. That's the maximum we can get. Like we probably could spend more money to get more visitors, but is it worth it? Is it actually going to bring us more leads? And then we looked at our YouTube, like the stats on the YouTube. Yes, it wasn't as big as Google, but the leads are so much warmer. The sales team preferred working with them. And so therefore we realized that we need to focus more energy on YouTube rather than Google. And just one point, find out what your competitors are doing and do the opposite. What I realized is my competitors, because they're accountants, they hate being online, they hate doing videos, they hate talking to clients and leads. So I did that because I knew that no one would be competing with me, and it would be so much harder for accountants to compete. And sometimes that's all it is. Like a lot of the accountants and competitors were spending a lot more money on SEO, spending a lot more money on paid Google ads. And so they were ranking higher than us. And there's just no way that if I kept staying in the industry, like in SEO, that I was going to succeed, because over time they could just brute force pay more money to take over it. The crazy thing is that people actually paid money on my name. People still pay money on my name. If you Google Davie Mack or accountant, there is an ad on it, and my website won't pop up first. Yeah, so we had competitors doing that, and they brute force just basically took away our SEO. So as a result, I decided that we should focus on YouTube. It's less likely for them to brute force and pay their way through beating me on my on content, because they had to actually find a person to do the video. Then they have to actually do the scripts. And some of these people, not good at that stuff. With your experience now, how would you start again in 2024 to 2025? I think I would, exactly what I would say. Like, find out what your competitors are doing and what they're not doing. And if you think that you can do a better job with the things that they're not doing, focus on that. A good example is TikTok. If your competitors and your clients and your audience is on TikTok, then a lot of people aren't on TikTok. And the crazy thing is that, yes, there are people on TikTok, but they're all the younger generation. And you guys are the older gen with more experience, more qualified than, the 20-year-olds or, 25-year-olds, doing content about, finance, doing content about mortgage brokering, whatever it is. You guys should be the ones that are doing those content on TikTok, because when you create those videos, you'll get all the views. And at the very first 6 months to 12 months, you might suck at it. I just want to let you guys know you might completely suck. But you got to keep going at it and keep improving, fixing that 1% every time, and then eventually you do really well.
How about creating content for a local service business? Is it worth it, or is paid advertising on Google and Meta a better option? I think it depends on if your local business is, like, if it's a local service business, there's quite a difference between service and product. So Davie's obviously running a service business, so it's the same thing as you. Service-based businesses, as Davie has sort of alluded to, so you really require you to build a lot of trust, because otherwise you look like the same as everyone else. And what video basically does, or content marketing does, is it helps you to be different. It differentiates you against the competition. And it's usually not about like you being the best. It's about how different you are and how unique you are. So that could be like your personality, it could be the way you explain things, could be, all your mannerisms, right? And also your knowledge. So I would say for a local service business, 100% I would be still doing content. Paid advertising, we did try, and I've tried for many of my clients as well, who are, we do like mostly service-based businesses. What we found mostly was conversion rates were really low. So it gets really expensive. Like if you run Google ads or Meta ads, your cost per customer is extremely high. So it's not that it doesn't work, it's just you have to have deep pockets. Whereas with content marketing, it's probably the most cost. I know it sounds silly because Davie's spending $150,000 a year, but he's making $100,000 in new sales every month, sort of $500,000 to $800,000 a year. So he's like, return on investment for content marketing is way higher than ads when we ran that as well. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
And just so you know, like the return on investment was long-term game. We were going for long-term game. Like the very first couple of years, it wasn't making that return at all. All right. But we knew this content that we're creating is evergreen. And it's not like TikTok where we release a video, or Instagram where we release a video and it just disappears after 6 months. No one goes back and watches your previous videos. But in YouTube, on the other hand, they do that. So that's why I just went and doubled down even more money, because we were SEO based initially. And we knew that if you have an article there and it's there for a longer period of time, it would rank up higher.
Yeah. Hey, Davie. We're building surveyors from Melbourne, and we're service-based as well. What we do is we do like a couple posts on LinkedIn, and it's very much educational based. But what I find is I'm kind of educating my colleagues in the field rather than getting a lot of new feel. So my question sort of revolves around the demographic that you see from your leads, because sort of we're trying to target like the regular home builder and the larger client, where we don't really want the owner builder or the smaller sort of one-off client, it's kind of like we want the repeat regular work. So I'm just curious about the leads and the demographic that you get back.
First things first, like you should be teaching your competitors because it makes you look better. That's one thing, and that will become your referral partners. I just want to point that out. It actually happens. And the reason being is because if you really trust your product or your service that you're selling and you know you're the best, when you're teaching them how to do it, they will start realizing that this is freaking too hard. And so that will start referring your name out there. So it's actually a good idea to teach your competitors. And it creates a lot of personal branding. What I've realized, I think one thing I failed in business, and a really big mistake that I had in the last 3-4 years, was I actually didn't market my firm well for employees, and that's what really stopped my growth. Right now we have like an accountant shortage, and we just can't find staff. Everyone can't find staff. So accountants are now downsizing, selling their businesses and what's up like that. But if I marketed my company for other employees, and that means teaching people, teaching your competitors, because when you teach your competitors, what your competitors will do is start applying your knowledge in their business. And when they apply their knowledge, who do they teach? They teach their staff. And then their staff start knowing about you and they go, wow, this guy, I actually like Stephen. I actually prefer Stephen over my boss right now. And then that will go for a job for you. So it works in many ways where it actually helps your business so much. Some of the guys that work with me have been watching my videos and their old boss were the ones that sent the videos to them. How crazy is that? They actually shot themselves on the foot without even realizing. And it was so easy to get them to come join us because it was, we started doing some marketing online to actually find some employees, and we started doing sales. Went on LinkedIn headhunting all these bunch of people, and we actually, some of the people already knew who we are because they watch our videos. So yeah, that's one thing. And the second thing to answer your question is, in the short run, it's going to be a pain in the ass, but in the long run, you will get the client because they will realize that they don't know what they're doing. It's too complicated, and your processes work and your systems work. And sometimes you might be wrong, like the stuff that you're educating. And for people to tell you where you're wrong, all you need to do is just delete the video and recreate the video. You're learning from your competitors as well. Yeah. So I've had like a lot of good experience from it, doing it. You just need to cop in the chin. You just need to. And I'm very good at that. I've been a minority my whole life. I've lived in Bankstown. My parents never had money. My parents didn't have an education. And I was humbled to work for my boss for 8 years straight. And then when I went out on my own, in the accounting industry, I said, I'm going to learn as much as I can. And if everyone tries to shoot me down, it's okay. Eventually, one day they're going to know that I'm the best. Yeah, I wanted, and I truly believe that I would be. If not now, maybe later. So yeah, so I think it's okay to just cop it, and just look at the long-term game.
Doing marketing is 80% emotional, 20% technique. And what I mean by that is, if you look at Davie, especially those early videos, they're actually, now that we look back at them, they were pretty horrible videos at the time. They were embarrassing, to put it frankly. And I think that if you're not a little bit embarrassed about the stuff you put out initially, then you're kind of leaving it too late. The thing why I say it's emotional 80% is because most people give up and shoot themselves in the foot before it actually takes traction. So a lot of marketing has to do with just consistency, which is what Davie said. So I'll give you an example. I've seen clients who are literally on the precipice of breaking through and building that really strong lead pipeline, but they tap out because they've set some arbitrary time frame of when they should get return on investment for marketing. So the longer you can hold out, the longer you can hold your breath in marketing, the better that you'll do in business as well. And the great thing is that I would say in Australia, 95% of businesses think short term. That's why big businesses, your big corporations, your Coca-Colas and your Nikes and your Apples, they don't measure ROI on a short time horizon. So when you're putting stuff out, whether it's on LinkedIn or anywhere, just know that even though short term you might not be getting the hits that you expect or you want, people are watching. I know a dietitian who this was actually someone very similar to Alex Hormozy, you spoke about this. This dietitian I knew, she has 2,000 followers. She generates 7 figures through 2,000 followers on Instagram. Just teaching dietitians how to run their businesses. It's actually really crazy. So you don't need big numbers. Like Davie's numbers are not, I would say, huge numbers if you compare them to like, some of the big dogs out there. But he can generate 100K worth of sales every single month. The second part, which is you're marketing to, or you're creating content, teaching your colleagues, I would say that's just because that's just the nature of your network. So if I were you, I'd be going out there, and LinkedIn allows you to do this, is just to send 100 connection requests every single week to your target customers. So if you guys are in the surveying industry, go look for anyone who could be a referral partner or a potential customer and start connecting with them. We found on average 20 to 30% of people accept. So if you just did that every year, 5,200 connection requests, so 100 times 52 weeks, and then times 30%, you're going to get like 1,000, 1,200 new potential eyeballs on your stuff. And then it's just a game of consistency. So that's kind of how I think about it when it comes to, you creating content on a regular basis.
Yeah, and building those connections with them isn't like you don't sell to them straight away. What you're supposed to do is now earn the trust from them. Be on their radar for the next 6 to 12 months. Create videos, post videos online. Teach them, give them something for them to actually want to talk to you. And then eventually, over time, people start reaching out to you. So I still get people that I've connected with them like 2 years ago that we sent a message saying, "Hey, I just want to connect with you. You're in the industry that I want to be in, or I want to learn from you." And then they messaged me like 2 days ago. The guy's like, "Oh, I want to do a collaboration with you. I think we can work together. And also I need an accountant." So 2 years later, I finally got the deal, like the lead to come over. And yeah, play the long game. Don't worry about too much about the short game. What I realized, and I didn't say, is that when I first started the business, I relied heavily on referrals, family and friends, my network. But I knew one day, and just so you know, like my business grew really fast. It went from like $40,000 in sales, and it went in fees. It went to 120,000, 120. It went to about 180, and I was like, wow, I'm killing it. Every few months it's just growing so fast. But I was smart. I'm not dumb because I've been an accountant for a very long time. I knew those leads would dry up because there's only so many people that I can meet. There's only so many friends and family I have, and I had a lot of family and friends. But eventually it's going to dry up. No one's going to, I've already worked on that market completely. So I need to build the content and started focusing now on being really good online. And yeah, it's taken so long, but it took like 2 years for it to finally start hitting the nail on the head, and it actually started working. So yeah, sometimes you just need to play the long game. But how did you balance your lead growth with having enough staff to serve them? Can you share your thought process? Man, that was hard. I think I burnt out so many times. I think at that particular time, I wasn't very good with work-life balance. I think our friend says this really well. Vin said that, Vin Chang, like that we catch up with every now and then, he said that he's never met someone that has been successful that had balance throughout the whole life. I didn't have balance during COVID. I was working crazy hours, and I told my partner at that time, man, this is an opportunity. And I said it to Cad too. Me and Cam were working up to midnight at nighttime, and we met clients sometimes at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. And the reason why we did that was because we knew at that point in time we were at the cusp of like the opportunity, and we wanted to focus really hard. But over time, what I did was, from working all that out, I started working on those 5 pillars. I built processes and systems, documenting how to do things. I started training a team, and at that time I couldn't even afford the team members. So I just hired 2 junior salespeople that didn't have as much experience, and just trained them as much as I could. And they would sit with me, watch the sales calls, and over time they started taking over the sales calls. And I'm telling you, it was hard. They messed up so many times, and there was some times where the clients, they really wanted to sign up with me, but they didn't trust the people that I hired. I had like messages and direct messages online saying, hey, I wanted to sign up with you, but I met up with this person, and I don't have any trust with this person at all. I just don't feel like this person knows what he's talking about. It's actually contradicting to the videos that you said. So it took a lot of time to make those mistakes, and it takes a lot of time to train your team members. But you actually have to focus your energy to actually train these people. You can't just hire these people and just slot them in and it's all going to be good. Initially, and I mentioned this to you, that I used to get about 60 to 70% success rates with my leads. So everyone that books in a meeting, they sign up as a client. When I started picking up the sales team, it dropped down to 30, 40%. And it's okay. I said to him, like, I can't handle it. I can't handle all the leads. I have to eventually palm it off. And my goal was to get to 1 mil, and I need people to do that. That's why at the very start of this deep dive, I told you guys what the goal was, because I think it's so important for you to understand that it's the goal that you're trying to reach. So play the long game, don't play the short game. And yeah, so I hope that helps you answer that, like the balance. Like you just need to sometimes not have some balance. I know that sounds bad. And then eventually you just need to hire the staff, even though it's not working out right. But you need to play the long game. You got to train them up. As long as they have the right attitude, it's going to be good.
Okay, thanks, Davey. Thanks, Ken. Great session, basically. So we are in the service business, as you know, and majority of the existing clients that we have got are coming from government agencies. So would like to get some tips about how to deal with these guys. We're trying to expand in there, and the process is basically to go through such a competitive tendering process, which we have done for past 10 years, but I'm now thinking about, okay, are we going to like continue like this, or are we going to diversify to the private sector? But yeah, focusing on the government sector, I would like to understand if you have got any similar businesses. You have signed up a lot of businesses already with yourself, but have you got any success stories about like marketing and that sort of stuff, like with the government agencies?
Yeah, Ken, you 100% have this.
Yeah, we've definitely got it. Like I've got a landscaper who works with, government agencies, schools, Department of Education is a huge account for them as well. What we realized was, whilst we, like for example, don't have experience with the technical writing of tenders, you have to get someone who's very experienced in that space, and ideally a technical writer who's done another business in the same service. So I think I had a quick look on Google, you're like in project management consulting. So someone who's been able to do that. But what we found was a lot of the stuff that, for example, this particular landscape would do was they would have, they would have case study videos. They would have obviously good presence digitally online across socials. They would have, like a good capabilities deck. So all the assets that are required for governments, because governments buy in a very similar way to everyone else. The only difference is it's very rigid, and they have a very specific criteria to decide that. But what we noticed was that he was winning a lot of jobs back on the basis of a lot of what we call social proof. So social proof was just like showing that, hey, I've worked with similar types of government agencies and businesses like yours, and here's what we've been able to do for them. So that was one. I've got another client. They're like software developers. They specialize in first responders, so like ambulance, police, SES, a lot of government and not-for-profits as well. And they're going through a tendering process at the moment. And they did a podcast. So they did a podcast where they actually invited a lot of government reps and government decision makers onto their podcast so they can build a relationship with them off camera. So they used the podcast almost like a Trojan horse, whereas like the podcast wasn't about building an audience, even though they did, but the podcast was used so they can get the door open to speak to someone who would ultimately approve their tenders so that they can build that relationship and build know, like, and trust factor as well. So there's like lots of ways to do it. It depends on who you're targeting and who you're going after. But those are a couple of examples that we've seen work like really, really well. And people don't think about marketing that way as well.
And if I could add to that, you can also combine different types of marketing and sales tactics. For example, if it's a government contract, you need to find maybe through LinkedIn who you're trying to target, who are the ones that actually approve those tenders. And you can start marketing to them, creating content directly related to their specific needs and not. And then what you can do then is start connecting with them and direct messaging them and just building some sort of reputation with them. You direct message them and ask them to go on the podcast, or you start providing content to them. That's where they start going, oh, well, wow, these guys actually are talking about the issues that I'm currently facing. What are the issues in their business that they struggle at? And you can just start helping them with your content. So that's one way of doing it as well. Ken, you had a payroll company that you did that with, where the payroll company sells like large payroll services to large corporations, and usually it's like corporate companies. And what they did, it seemed like they were creating content that answered the questions of problems that they would face for payroll officers in those large corporations. They created lead magnets. They created PDFs and training. They even actually created videos on training, which I think they sold to them for a very cheap price as well. Yeah. And by doing that, you build trust, you build expert, like you become a key person of influence, and then they start wanting to work with you.
It's just building know, like, and trust. Like, that's just, if you're going to take one thing away, if you're in services, build know, like, and trust. And the only way to build know, like, and trust is regular touch points and giving value. So I use the exercise of, like, imagine if you have two friends, one friend who's always like leeching off you and like borrowing money and doing dumb stuff, and you're always having to bail them out. And then you have like a friend who's always doing you favors. You know, you get yourself into trouble, they're the first one you call, they're always helping you out. You're building what's called like relationship capital. So relationship capital is this idea where, like, as humans, we all want to like give back. Like, we always want to even the balance, right? You never want to be in debt to someone. So what happens is when you do content and you give value and educate, you're creating high relationship capital. Think of it like a bank account. You're just building savings in the bank. And the more you do, the bigger the ask down the track. So if, for example, you bring someone on a podcast and you get them to talk about themselves for 45 minutes and you create amazing content about how great they are at their job and, you know, make them look good, they're going to be like, I really like this guy. And all you did was just like sit there and listen to him for 45 minutes, right? So if you're going to do this for like government, I would probably recommend you do that. Go find like the key decision makers in government and then go, hey, I've got a podcast about project management. Are you willing to come on and talk about what you do as a project manager in the government agencies that you work for? And they're going to be like, well, this Ali guy's like, I really like him because I've been talking to him for 45 minutes and he's very interested in me, because as humans, we're just interested in talking about ourselves. So that's what I would do if I were you, just to generate leads off the bat, because the bigger the account or the bigger the opportunity. So usually it's the smaller the market size as well. So if you're in a really niche space like yours, podcast is really strong, very powerful. But if you're in like, you know, mass, like something like accounting, which is considered like big volume, then you want to go like, you know, there's a bigger audience, the algorithms can find them, start creating content, start creating stuff that's like, you know, wider and broader as well.
And it's also like influencer marketing where because they have a network themselves. And what do you think they're going to do when they go on a podcast? They're going to share it to their network. They're going to tell the world about, you know, this podcast that they've been on, and then your name gets shown, and then they start asking questions on your business and what your business is like.
This one sort of revolves around the LinkedIn and building like the personal brand on your personal page, whereas also posting on your business page. What I've found is I do 2 posts a week, and I've done it we're only a year old, the company, but I get really good impressions on my personal, like maybe 5 times. But as soon as I do it on my business page, I get like, it's almost like it throttles or punishes me for doing it on my business page. And my question is, do I just go hard on the business page and just wear the, you know, 5 times less impressions, or do I stick just going on my personal page from that side?
I'll just tell you what I do. I start posting on my business page. Yeah. But that, it can be the best answer.
Yeah. So I get this question a lot, like personal brand versus company brand. Which one do I do? Concerns about, I don't want to be the face because if I leave the business or something happens, or, you know, I want to get myself out, it's not all tethered to me and then I can't sell the business and blah, 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 and all these like narratives in their head. My answer to that is that if you get to that stage and you're worried about that, that's like a problem for another day. But honestly speaking, personal brand will always win over company brands. Like, that's just the reality. People want to work with people. Number 2 is LinkedIn is built for personal brands. It is not built for, I know it sounds really silly because it's B2B and it's basically business to business, but it's actually more people to people ultimately, and more personal professional brands. So I would continue to double down on personal. And the reason why you're seeing more traction is not because you're being penalized by the algorithm. It's just because people don't trust company pages as much as they trust personal profiles. That's just the reality, right? Like if you think about like a post made by, you know, sort of like Tim Cook versus Apple, people are going to perk up and pay more attention to Tim Cook stuff than Apple's company page as well. So definitely do more of personal brand, in my opinion.
I think there's actually a stat on it. Someone said that if you actually look at Tim Cook's Instagram or following compared to actual Apple's following, it's actually bigger.
Yeah, it's multiplies bigger. And we can give an example like Gary Vee versus VaynerMedia, Alex Hormozy versus acquisition.com, you know, whoever your favorite creator is, them versus their thing. And we're very deliberate about Davie stuff where like it's not Box Advisory Services on YouTube, it's Davie Mac on YouTube, because we realized that if you did do that, you're kind of fighting against gravity a little bit, because you're having to, you know, convince people that this company should be trusted. It's not that you can't get there, it just takes longer and it's harder. Like there's a lot more friction involved in order to do that. But there are companies that have been able to do it successfully, both personal brand, but also company brand as well.
Yeah, like Red Bull, for example, does a really good job of it, but look how much money they spend. And they still do it with the influencer. So they don't become the personal brand. The influencer, which is the Olympian or the race car driver, is the one that actually starts promoting the brand. And it takes a lot of money and time to be able to do something like that. Yep. It's easier just doing it yourself personally. And you get all the rewards from it as well. Plus, you can get your staff members or your team members as well to do it.
Really good answer. Thanks.
Awesome. Oh, sorry. I was going to say the last thing is, did you say you're posting just written content mostly at the moment?
It's mainly, you're correct. It's mainly written memes and educational.
Yep. I definitely think about repurposing your written content into videos, and your videos don't need to be high production quality. It actually, we're seeing, if you see some of Davie's recent stuff like these deep dives, they're actually doing better than some of the high production quality stuff that we're putting up on YouTube and socials. So I would not worry about production quality. I just get the phone out and just start recording. You will be surprised that video content does extremely well. And of course, then you can diversify into other channels as well. But for LinkedIn does still like the written versus image, memes and graphics and photos. But I think it's more variation of content. You know, don't just do one, trying to change it up and have a sort of variation with the content you do. Yeah.
Yeah, and one thing I would probably add to it as well is don't get too caught up with the amount of views that you get and how viral the content goes. We released a video, I think in May last year, and it did like 90,000 views. And it was just going nuts, like on YouTube. And it just talked about the construction boom. Great video, great topic, but just it doesn't help our clients and our audience. So did we get any leads from it? No, it didn't. We tried that approach because we thought we'll just mix in some videos to just drum up more views just to see if it actually helps the business and or helps the channel. And yes, our subscribers went up, but I think those clients, they don't mean anything to us. They're never going to buy from us. So there was actually, I don't think it's actually going to be helpful. The only thing it would do for us is maybe it would help get the channel with sponsorships. And we could do like more marketing and get more money from the channel. And then so we can focus on more marketing. But yep. I decided, it's a waste of time. It's just, there's no point. And it actually ruins the image of Davie Mack as well. Because then Davie Mack becomes the expert of talking about construction and, why businesses go bust, rather than actually focusing on actually helping our clients.
Yeah, we've got a client who's a buyer's agent. So in the same like real estate space. He has like 3,000 YouTube subscribers and, does some decent numbers on socials, but not like anything like ground shaking. Gets about 50 to 60 deals every single month, and they're worth like $15,000 to $20,000 each. So he's just killing it right now. But if you look at it on face value, he's not doing well. Like you look at his accounts and you'd be like, this guy's only doing like a few hundred views or a few thousand views per video. And it's like, people are like, oh, is that worth it? And that's why I say it's psychological, because the big breakthrough for me was to understand that if you're trying to create content online to sell a service or a business, it's very different to being a Mr. Beast trying to get millions of views and getting paid for advertising and sponsorship. You're not in that game. You're in the game of finding the right people, not the most people. So just remember, when you do get it out, it's quality over quantity. That's why I said, like, if it's showing it to your colleagues or industry partners or competitors, you'll need to re-curate your following. So the way to do that is you might even have to like remove connections and then retrain the algorithm to find the right people for you as well.
Great. Sounds good. I think we went over time, but it was really good content. So if you guys ever need anything, feel free to reach out. I can help out. But again, I'm not a marketer. Probably the best person to speak to is Ken. Thanks very much, guys. And I will see you guys next time. I think the next one is actually things I've learned about running a business. So all the mistakes I made, so more specifically to do with business and not just marketing. So see you guys in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Cool. See you guys. Bye-bye.